Serious, people of Reddit that believe in the paranormal, ghosts, demons, angels, etc. What exactly happened to make you start believing? When I was a kid I had an imaginary friend called Mr. Johnson. I would talk to and play with him all day, and my parents mostly ignored it, because it seemed harmless. Well, one day while my mum was out watering the yard, a neighbor walked by and started a conversation. He said he was surprised that she moved there, because it was supposedly haunted, and that the previous tenant had died in the house. His name was Mr. Johnson. After that my parents got really uncomfortable when I talked to my friend and I eventually stopped interacting with him. I also have a very vivid memory of talking to something on a curtain rod in the same house. I can't remember what we were talking about, only that its voice was kind of raspy and weird. When my dad came in and asked what the frick I was doing, I remember the thing saying, "Say I'm God." So, I told my dad I was talking to God and thought the freaked out look he gave me was hilarious, even though I had no real understanding of what God was or why that was such a strange thing to say. Years ago I was talking to my youngest son about his imaginary friend. He told me that his friend didn't like me at all. I asked if his friend was here right now. My son looked me straight in the eye and said he says to say no. Dude, my nephew walks up to me and asks me to look up this person. I don't remember their name. Some guy that died in the 1930s. My nephew nods. That's me. Goosebumps, man. Damn. Probably too late now for anyone to see this, but it's something that's always made me think. When my sister was a baby, she was always crying and would not sleep through the night unless she was in bed with my mom. My stepfather worked nights at a hospital, so he was not there when this occurred. Mum told me she woke up because she felt a hard, bony finger tapping on her shoulder. She woke with a start to this finger and realized in the night she had rolled on top of my sister and was suffocating her. If she had not woke up, my sister would have probably died. My mum turned around in a panic, thinking my stepdad had came home early and had poked her to wake her up, but he was not there and wasn't there till the next morning. She swears to this day that an angel tapped her to wake her up to save my sister. My mum told me about a similar experience when I was a baby. She was a single mum and accidentally fell asleep on the couch while watching me. She says she felt something shove her really hard and it woke her up. She woke up to discover me playing with the power outlet or something. That is still the most common way babies die, so glad someone woke your mum up. I'm never doing this with my baby, because I will roll over. When I was 20 or so, I worked for a carpet cleaning service. It was really just me and the two other guys who started it. I eventually proved myself and they gave me a van and my own clients to work. So I head up into the rural Tennessee hills to do a job one morning. It was a private house. I spoke with a middle-aged woman who owned it and began my process. Pulling out the machine, hooking up to a water source, etc. As I make my way through the house, I notice that the woman I spoke with was hanging out in the kitchen and there was the husband doing work in the garage and out front. No other signs of people in the house. I'm making my way down the main hallway straight into the master bedroom, I assumed. As I push the machine in the room, watching what I'm doing on the floor, I see an older woman out of the corner of my eye. She is wearing a white gown, standing up out of a chair in the far right corner of the room. I look up to apologize and I see her briskly walk around an alcove where this chair was. I could not see the right wall of this alcove, so I assumed it was an exit and she was simply leaving so I could finish. I continue and make my way to the alcove, and as I turn into it, I see that it is a closet with the door ajar and light off. My heart sank and I half-assed the rest of that job and booked it out of there. It never felt aggressive or anything. Peaceful actually. Just an old soul hanging out, I guess. 15 years later and it's still so vivid in my mind. Did you at least look in the closet? I'm laughing thinking of him scaring an old lady so bad she was hiding in the closet. LOL. Was sitting on the couch downstairs and could hear someone walking loudly up the stairs. Problem is the stairs were on the other side of the room from where I was hearing this. Sound was clear as day. I went upstairs and as 21-year-old I fell asleep on my parents' bedroom floor that night. It freaked me out so bad. Next morning of course my mum is asking what the frick am I sleeping in their room, and I explain I heard the stomping up the stairs, but no stairs there, and her mouth gapped open. Damned if the house hadn't been partially gutted and redone in 1989, 10 years before we moved in, and the stairs used to be exactly where I heard the stomping. I refused to believe my mum until we went upstairs, and sure enough she showed me there was an indent in the ceiling right where the wall partitioning the room from the stairs would have been. I never believed in anything like that before. I'm still not sure I do. I mean, if I didn't learn that the stairs had been there I would have thought I just went a bit nuts in the head for a minute, instead of believing I was hearing ghosts or something, but the remodel moving stairs was just too much of a coincidence. LOL, somebody really wanted to stop the haunted staircase from banging and it still didn't stop it. My aunt used to live in an old, pre-Civil War house. The upstairs gave off a really creepy vibe to it. It wasn't used, so no one had any reason to go up there. A lot of the time her and I would leave to run errands. We would come back and all the lights would be on upstairs in every room. Mind you, she lived alone. Well, one night we both walked up there to turn them off, and as we rounded the corner on the steps we saw an old man at the top, and then he vanished right in front of both of us. My aunt and I both hightailed out of there as fast as we could. I didn't stay the night with her again until she moved out of that place. If I ever see weird it in the dark I always feel compelled to wave hello or something. I always feel compelled to scream. That's no way to greet someone. Same. I feel like I could meet a really nice ghost friend, and it all becomes a little less scary. I mean, if ghosts are just dead people, why are they always portrayed as being malevolent? I mean, what if there's just really chill ghost bros who just want to hang out, but everyone keeps freaking out when they see them? My childhood best friend had a Rottweiler, Tyler, who passed away a few years before we started hanging out. One night, I spent the night at his house and woke up in the middle of the night to a Rottweiler staring me in the face. I thought it was his new Rottweiler, Roddy, he had, so I went to pet it and my hand just went right through it. I told him about it the next morning and they said it was normal for them to see or hear him still roaming around the house every once in a while. I've had a few paranormal interactions since, but that was the one that solidified my beliefs. My previous dog, Kelly, passed away when I was 12. He was a golden retriever, just like my parents' dog, Dexter, who passed before I was born. I always wished I could have met Dexter, because I had heard about what a good boy he was. Kelly slept in my parents' room with the door closed, and I slept in mine, also with the door closed. One night I woke up in the middle of the night and saw a golden retriever sitting by my door. I thought it was Kelly, so I knelt down to pet him, and as soon as I placed my hand on his head, he disappeared. Maybe it was Dexter? I'm loving the idea of ghost doggers who come back for pets and, or to check on you. Woof woof, I've come for ghost treats. Spooky snacks. I swear I hung out with a ghost cat in a house my grandma moved into when I was around 13. She went out of the country, so I house sat for a few weeks. It was 2 houses down from my own, so no big deal. She didn't have a cat or any other animal. But I constantly saw a grey tabby cat out of the corner of my eye, and once I felt something hop up on the bed and curl up next to me, but nothing was there. It was a really nice presence. I saw it a few more times for about 3 years when I visited, but when she got her own cat I never saw it again. Sad face, I'm still on the fence about it being a real ghost, though. I've always had cats, so what if my brain was making me see them, because I was used to it? I don't know. My mum told me this story a long time ago when I asked her if she ever had any weird experiences. She was in her apartment in her bed, no roommates, when she felt someone brushing her hair. Her mum would come over and do that often, so she assumed it was her and didn't look back. That's when the phone started ringing. She didn't get up until about a minute passed and the brushing stopped. She answered the phone and it was her mom. I'm so starved of physical contact with another being I honestly wouldn't mind that. If you feel that you can act appropriately, you may consider a hair appointment, a pedicure, or a massage. An impersonal touch may still be soothing. Yeah, but ghosts do it for free. So, she's home alone, feels someone brushing her hair and doesn't react at all? Nah, not having it.